Blog Talk Radio.
MTG.
Well, hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, October 9th, 2013, and I am your host, MTG, bringing you another OMTG show here. And we have two wonderfully gorgeous and talented women on our show tonight, not including myself, so that would be three of us this evening, your gorgeous host and our two wonderful guests. Our first guest today is none other than a wonderful, wonderfully talented woman, Betsy Burr, Elizabeth Burr, to those who don't know or aren't familiar with her. But I call her Betsy because I adore her. And I think she might be coming around to the studio at any moment. Oh! Well, I think that's her now. Let's bring her on the show. Hi, Betsy.
Hello, Michael.
Oh, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. You know, I told you no children at the party today. So that small child that you brought with you will have to stay outside the door.
Well, can I bring my other gift in?
What's your other gift?
It's a pot.
A pot? Now, when you say pot, not pot, but a pot. Because I don't smoke pot.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
what kind of pot?
To piss in.
A pot. Because, you know, I had run out of. I didn't have a pot to piss in. That's great. I didn't have a pot. That. Well, they like that gift. In fact, we're going to give a pot to piss in to all of our audience members. If you look under your seats, ladies and gentlemen, that is your pot to piss in. So that is wonderful, and brought to you by the lovely Matt. That's harp. We love our sound effects on the show. My nephew, who is also our producer in the background there, but he may come on board here and chastise us from every now and then, because we do tend to get a little naughty. And I tend to go a little overboard on these sound effects, but I love them. They're my toys. You have toys, don't you?
Yes, I do.
What are some of your favorite toys?
My bicycle. Definitely my bicycle.
Bicycle. Do you? Does that Queen song get in your head whenever you go on your bicycle?
That and many others.
You come to the sandbox to play tonight. I can tell. So go ahead and put that pot off to the side, and I'll piss in it later. But I really, really, really appreciate your bringing that now, because sometimes we do the show and it might run a little long, and I just I can't hold it, and sometimes I really, really get the urge. So wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Thank you. Okay. So, that pot came in handy already, but I did flush it down the toilet because it's kind of routine. Okay. Well, when I bring my guests on, I always like to vet them a little bit and read a little bio so our audience kind of gets to know a little bit more about you up front. And I grabbed your bio from your website, elizabeth-skincare.com. And this is bio on your website. In her own words, ladies and gentlemen, in Betsy Burr's own words, I was a successful actress for many years until I developed adult-onset acne while on a soap opera. Having acne is humiliating enough, but going through it on TV with producers and fans was devastating. Despite the efforts of several doctors, nothing cleared my skin until an Now, how do I say that word? Esthetician treated me?
That's correct.
I have challenges sometimes with big words like that. So she gave me a series of peels in her salon and changed my home care routine. I was embarrassed about my appearance before she cleared me up, which changed my life. Once my skin was clear again, I said, I want to do this. Since then, I've been happy educating myself and my clients as we practice great skincare together. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to the show live or after the fact, if you come back and come upon our show here and are listening to the podcast, and you look at the slideshow of our guests that we have going while you're listening, you could just see that she's rather attractive, alluring, gorgeous, sexy, Elizabeth Burr. So I'd say, oh no, you don't want me to stop. Oh, you don't. You don't. And so that's pretty fascinating. I mean, talk about a real shift in your life. So, where did you sort of take off in the acting career, and when did that moment come to you when you decided, whoa, this is where I need to be now in my life? So let's go back in time a little bit. Again, we'll play our dream card. Can you take us back in time to when things were kind of rocking in the acting world, and that was your passion? What was that like?
I'm sorry, what is rocking in the acting world, and what was my passion? What did you say?
No, what was that like? Or what was your captain?
Great.
That would be fine if you want to talk about that.
It was great. It was just great. I started out in New York City. I did a lot of theater, regional and off-Broadway. And then I booked a soap opera, the worst one on TV, Loving.
That's
called
the
it
worst
Leaving.
one on television. What show was that?
Loving. It was a soap opera.
Loving, that's right. It was on ABC, wasn't it?
That's correct.
I remember. Now, that was on for how long was that on? About at least 10 years. I'm probably.
Oh yeah, but the cast members came and went. We called it Leaving, not Loving. Leaving.
Oh my God! So when you joined it, what was your character and what was she like?
Oh, I played the most boring Catholic nurse who did nothing but whine and cry. I cooked stew and I cried.
Oh, you cooked stew. How did they know that you were? Because cooking is one of your passions and something that you're very, I would say, not just great but phenomenal at.
Well, thank you for that. That's personal life, but no, this was just. They wanted to establish a very, very staid character that just basically was a nurturer. She was a nurse and a nurturer, and that's all she did, that and cry.
Did she cry when she cooked? You know how they do in that, like Water for Chocolate or some other fabulous movie where they cry in their food and then everybody who eats their food cries?
Oh, I wish. No, it was just dull as dull could be.
But were you excited about the kind of exposure that gave you? Because I'll tell you, what I have learned being a part of the web series world, being in theseries.com, created by Steve Silverman, it's a great, great show. And a lot of people from the soap opera world, the daytime TV world, have migrated online to this new genre of web series because, a lot of daytime television has been kind of gotten the ixnay, and those shows have gone away, some of those, and a lot of those actors have migrated to this whole new world that has fully embraced them. And let me tell you, like sports fans, there's no fan like a soap opera fan. Did you find that to be true?
This is true, yes. Later on, I went on to do Days of Our Lives, and then I went on a cruise. I was invited to go on a cruise where we spent a few hours a day with the fans, and I was on a ship where 240 fans booked passage to be with us, and there were 4 of the actors from the show, myself included, and it was really fun because we don't really see our fans. It's not like doing a show and you see people backstage afterwards or your audience. It's great because there they were, and it's very, very popular. But I don't doubt that these poor actors now have to reinvent themselves on a web series. I blame reality TV.
Yeah, the proliferation of it. I'm not a big, and I can hear in the tone of your voice, you're not a big fan of reality television. And I, for the most part, am not, because I think a lot of it's garbage. But if it supports the arts, if it's a dancing themed show or singing or something like that, I tend to gravitate towards those if I'm going to watch them at all, because I think, anything that supports the arts is something I'm very, very for. But the proliferation of these shows has really nixed a lot of work for actors and writers. People I don't know if the general public realizes how many people in the industry, in the entertainment industry, go without work because of these shows, because they're so cheap to produce. And so many of these people become, because they can become stars for doing what? For being notorious for what? Having a trash mouth or showing their fat folds?
Don't even get me started. It's a producer's wet dream. They don't have to pay actors or writers or residuals. They can let amateurs run amok and get the same advertising revenue. And quite frankly, even though the shows that support the arts have some kind of talent because they might be dancing or singing, they've made it into the most humiliating spectacle for the poor contestants. And if you have a great voice or you can dance, then why don't we have shows where people can sing and dance without it being a humiliating contest with trumped-up rivalries and idiotic things forced on them by these moronic producers who are just don't even get me started. I refuse to watch them.
It makes you want to scream, doesn't it?
It's like the dumbing down of our culture. There's nothing wrong with
much.
song and dance. America, if you're embarrassed about it, get over it.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. These shows need to go because we think they are. They're not good for us. They're not good for us. They're awful. Now, tell me a little bit more about that. About when things started to change for you in your life, when you felt like your skin was, kind of betraying you, and here you were in this very, in this industry that's very much about appearance and sex appeal and all that kind of stuff. In daytime television, like they say, sex sells, and you weren't feeling. I'm sure that it really affected how you felt about yourself and your appeal and your self-confidence. Yeah. So when did that really? When did that hit its peak for you? And and how did you find a pathway to this new life that you're in now as an esthetician with your Elizabeth skincare?
Just by chance, a friend of mine was engaged to a girl who was an esthetician, and she cleared me out. This was after being off the show for a while. I mean, I couldn't audition. I didn't want to leave my house. Yeah. And whatever momentum I gained by being on television kind of dissipated. I mean, acting is a business where if you're lucky, you better strike while the iron's hot.
Right.
And my iron cooled down.
Well, let me remind our audience again, if they look at your photo, they're going to see that your iron's hot. Oh, I'm saying. Okay, that iron is hot. Okay, because any woman, and we'll get to this later, but any woman, any person who is able to make me enjoy coconut the way you did with your coconut cake, honey, I'm not a big coconut fan, but that coconut cake of yours, it's enough to make you change religions. It really is.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I was a chef before I was an actress, and in fact, I used to make pastries for Anthony Bourdain.
Really? To let our audience who might not know who that is, educate them a moment, darling, because they might hear that name and just go, who, what? They don't know him.
Kitchen Confidential. Mr. Anthony Bourdain, one of the most interesting chefs and culinary personalities out there, has a fantastic point of view. And anyway, I was a chef very, very early, very young, and
well, you only look like you're 24. What, you were 2 when you were a chef?
Thank you. You stop it some more. I said that. No, I was very young. I kind of lucked into that career as a teenager, and I left it early. Also, there weren't very many women chefs in those days, and I was very young and looked very little.
Isn't that odd? Don't you think that's really odd that there weren't that many women chefs, but yet you have this image from the beginning of American history up until through the 50s and whatever of all the happy homemaker with making the cakes and making the cookies and cooking the dinner for your man and your children. So I mean, how is it that in the professional world that women it didn't translate? You think?
Well, my best guess is that until women's lib came around in the 70s and really broke apart the male chauvinist stronghold on positions of authority in the workplace, there weren't too many women chefs. Plus, you have to understand, most women were not recognized as great chefs because they did have to cook in the household, and the men who wanted to cook were truly interested in it and went beyond the gender-specified roles and became chefs. And they're the ones who got the accolades until that changed, I guess really in the 80s.
Julia Child helped us to break some of that mold, right? But look what she had to go through to get where she got.
But she was the lone pioneer for a long time.
A long, long time.
A long time. And there's nobody like her.
So who were you? Was she somebody that you looked up to in the culinary arts as a chef?
Well, certainly. I mean, there were many chefs that I looked up to, and I didn't have any sexist viewpoint about it one way or the other. I just fell into it as a means of making a living, and I was very good at it, so I did it for a long time.
I would say, and unlike Fox, you really are fair and balanced, so I believe you when you say that there was no sexual bias in that. So your friend, who is an esthetician, helped clear you up, and when you saw that difference, when you saw it happening, how did you transition back into the full-on fabulous and just, I mean, you've got an amazing energy and light about you, and you're very definite. You've got this strong life force energy about you. When did that reemerge?
Well, it never really went away. I just couldn't get work as an actress with a face full of pimples. And as soon as I became an esthetician,
well, let's cut to the chase.
Pardon me?
I said, let's cut to the chase. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
I also, in all honesty, it's not a very reliable field, acting. You have to have an incredibly amount of sustained luck to keep your career going, particularly if you're a female. There's just not that many female roles, period, end of story. If you look at any script breakdown, there's 25 men's roles and 5 women's roles. And as you get older, there's even less women's roles. So I chose not to be a masochist and built a new career for myself.
And when did you open your own? What led you open your own business? And what kind of challenges have you incurred? Have you discovered about that process, being a business owner, being a small business owner?
My friend who cleared my skin up, she became my friend and mentor, made a very good suggestion to me. She said, if you want to make money, only be in business for yourself. Don't work for other people. And she suggested that I get a room in a very busy hair salon and be the only esthetician there. So that's what I did. I rented a room in a Beverly Hills salon, and I borrowed $3,000 from my little sister and bought equipment and products and started in. And I had another job for 2 years, and I would do the occasional acting job. I mean, even still, every once in a while I'd get a movie or something.
Weren't you in, was it Town and Country? Is that right?
Town and Country, yes.
Yeah, and let our audience know what other fabulous actors had the pleasure of working with you in that film.
That movie, everybody was in that movie. Warren Beatty and Goldie Hawn, Diane Keaton, Gary Shandling, Andy McDowell, Charlton Heston, Marion Seldes is from New York.
She's wonderful.
Nastasia Kinski, everybody was in that movie.
Well, I have to tell you, in the lores of Hollywood history, and he's still a good-looking man today, but Warren Beatty, oh my God, what a sexy cutie patootie. I mean, from Splendor in the Grass to Shampoo, man. Did he have that kind of charisma in person? That sex appeal?
Well, yes and no. Some days yes, some days it's not. That's not his day to do that. He's fascinating. He's great with his kids. He's the hardest working person. He's often distracted, but very focused. He's brilliant at what he does, and he doesn't stop till he gets the cake that he wants.
Well, I think that's why he's had the career he's had, that longevity. I mean, talk about, that's got to have something to do with it,
And he works very, very hard. I think a lot of people think that show business is easy, and it's not easy work.
No, because to keep yourself No, and to keep yourself relevant. And anybody who, if you have the opportunity, going back to soap opera fans, I'm fortunate enough to be a part of a web series, Fan Fest, that was held in Palm Springs in August, called Hot as Hell, and it lived up to its name. And these fans are so supportive, and a lot of times, we'll raise money for projects that we're doing, and some of the rewards for those who contribute is like a day on the set kind of thing. And if anybody ever has a chance to be on the set, you're not an actor, but you're a big fan of something and you want to support it, and that's one of the prizes, and you're able to contribute in that way. Boy, is that a life lesson! I always like to follow up with people. From our fans, like from Pretty, that has been their reward, and they've spent a day on the set, and they always, across the board, are always so surprised how much work goes into creating a show. Because all they're seeing is the finished product, and that all looks fun and well and good, but so much time has gone to make all that happen, so much work and effort. So it's good I'm glad that you bring that up. And I want to delve a little bit more into your wonderfully enchanting life and go back a little bit and talk about your father and something that was really unique, the relationship that he had and the work that he did with Richard Burton. Would you let our audience get a little bit of a sneak peek about that part of your life?
Sure. You want me to tell you the story? It's a great story.
Yes, please.
So my father, by the time he died, had done 26 Broadway plays, starring in a dozen of them. And early in his career, when I was a small child, he understudied Richard Burton in Hamlet on Broadway, directed by Sir John Gielgud. And my father was very similar physically. They were the same height. Audience. They were the same height, hair shape, stature, very, very similar physically. And my father would prepare every night beneath the stage while Burton was on stage doing the play. My father would be down below mouthing the lines and miming the blocking. And Burton missed Wednesday shows, a matinee and an evening performance. And my mother pulled us all out of public school. We were in grade school, elementary school, to come see my father do Hamlet on Broadway because she figured when else would we get to see that. And Burton was a magnificent man, personally. He was just the most generous, kind man. And he arranged for the press to be there for my father. And in those days, there were 13 newspapers. And my father was a very good actor and got very good notices for his acting. And Burton recovered, and life went on. And then a few months later, Joseph Papp was beginning the second season of Shakespeare in the Park. And all of his future funding would depend on the success of that season. And the theater then was not the cultural icon that it is now. It was just beginning. So he opened
Really?
Hamlet.
Oh, wow, that's fascinating.
Hamlet that was running at the same time as Burton's with Alfred Ryder, who was terrible. The critics despised him. They gave him unanimously scathing reviews. So Joseph Papp fired Alfred Ryder, and he contacted Alexander Cohen, the legendary producer who was producing the Burton Hamlet, and said, I want to buy Robert Bird's contract. And Alexander Cohen said, well, let me call Burton. It's his understudy. So the call was made, and Burton said, absolutely, you can't keep a man from playing Hamlet. So my father rehearsed for 3 hours with Julie Harris and Howard DeSilva and the other cast members, and reopened Hamlet the very next night to rave reviews. It made his career. It made Joseph Papp's career. And my father did Shakespeare in the Park for years afterwards, whatever he wanted to do. The next season, he did Coriolanus to love letters from the critics. I was in it. I cross-dressed. I played my father's son.
Really? Oh, my God. What was that like? That had to be thrilling.
That was my professional debut. My father says I would come off stage and say, I want to put my necklace and rings back on so I can feel like a girl.
That's wonderful.
I only had one line, but my father gained 40 pounds to play this role, working out with Vic Fox himself. And that was really the beginning of his triumphant Broadway theatrical career, which then went on. And life changed for us. And Burton was just at Burton's solo curtain call at Hamlet on Broadway, which was playing at the same time as my father's, and he would wait till the audience calmed down, and he would tell them, you must go to Central Park to see Robert Burr play Hamlet. He's brilliant, I ought to know. And he was a magnificent man. And you don't hear that kind of generosity from a lot of actors.
Not so much these days. Absolutely. What a great story. I mean, that generosity. I love that because he could have been very much, no, he's mine, and I won't allow it. Which happened a lot, like in the old studio days in Hollywood, where they wouldn't let an actor out of their contract, kind of thing. So that's wonderful that he did that. So I'm going to segue now into a fun little game that we're going to play. So here goes.
When you hear the call, you got to get it underway. Word up. It's the code word.
This is our game called Word Up, a word-mind association game where I'll say a word, name or phrase, and ask you, Betsy Burr, my sidekick, to say the first thing that comes to your mind. Are you ready?
I suppose I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Oh, I know. I can tell. You're up. You're in the sandbox. It's okay. We're playing. You ready? The first word. Their first word is soap.
Box.
Now, yes, soapbox. Well, we do like to get up on our soapbox when we have something important to say, and I think that's very good. And but I also think about soap, and if I was to grab a bar of soap and wish to wash my face with it, how would you react?
Oh, no. No soap on your face till you get to heaven.
Till you get to now, would you tell God, please, I love you and all, but soap on the face, not such a good idea, not even in heaven. Yeah,
well, you might as well wash your face with Brillo or Mr. Clean. It's the same pH. I say to my clients, soap your pits and your privates. Don't ever soap your face. There you go. I said it.
Wow.
Loud on radio?
Well, this is the interwebs, and anything you can say anything, and our audience, they love it, and they're going to have their pop the piston to take with them. Now, I think our next guest is. I see her car in the distance. I have a wonderful corner office with a big bay window, and I'm able to see my guests from afar. So we've got 3 more words, phrases, or names to throw at you. You did really well with that first one, so I think you're a lot better at this than you might think. So here goes. Here's your second one. Gardens.
Of Allah.
What was that word?
Allah.
Oh, Allah. The Gardens of Allah. Oh, what? No, I would. And was that part of your inspiration for your backyard? Because whenever I talk about you, and I do talk about you often, and it's always in good taste. And your backyard, you transformed it from there was not a lot of thought that had been put into it from the prior owner. You turned into it the Garden of Allah. Was that part of your inspiration?
Yes, thank you. Absolutely.
See how I led you into that magical world of yes, you are right. So, how long did it take you to transform that backyard?
It took a few years. There was nothing but weeds.
And you have a lovely seating area, and you have a cabana. And do you spend more time? Of course, we're in Southern California, so we can be in or out of the house pretty much whenever. When the weather permits, of course. But have you spent nights out there in the cabana? Have you slept out there?
No, there's too many bugs, but I do love the outdoors there. I'm there every day. It's absolutely beautiful. I have all California natives and drought tolerant, Mediterranean. I don't water. There's no wasting water. I love my garden.
Now, for our audience, just to clarify, when Betsy says that she has California natives in her backyard, she means plants.
So I had some Valley girls, and they started hello.
Yeah. Like Moon Unit Zappa is back there, and she's trying to find the store, and she's really confused that she can't find anything but plants. Very confusing. Okay, you ready for your next word?
Yes, I am.
Cooking.
Gas.
Did you say bath?
Gas. G.
Gas. Cooking with gas. Well, cooking does give me gas sometimes, but when you're cooking with it, would you rather cook with gas or rather a gas stove rather than an electric stove?
Oh, absolutely. You can't cook with an electric stove.
And why is that, Elizabeth?
You can't control the heat very well.
Oh, and let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at Betsy's picture, you're going to have trouble controlling your heat. Okay, all I'm saying, because you're a knockout. You really are. You're a knockout. And the last one in our little game here. Are you ready?
Yes.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Hope Diamond.
Hope Diamond. Now, you got to meet Elizabeth, did you not?
Yes, I did. I met her when I was an adult. My father and I went to see Private Lives, and actually I have a hat in my closet that she gave to my mother. And it's still in my closet. It's a beautiful lace hat. After my father did his Hamlet triumphant in the park, he was named Father of the Year in New York City.
Oh,
and
I love that.
There was a ceremony at the World's Fair in Queens in 1964. And my mother had very thin hair and was out to dinner with the Burtons. You know, my parents were out to dinner with them. Yeah. And she said, I'm going to be photographed in August in New York, and my hair is such a mess, and it won't hold any hairspray. And Elizabeth said, well, wear a hat. And my mother said, I never thought about it. I don't have one. And Elizabeth said, come with me. And the second suite in the Regency Hotel beside the presidential one was reserved for her clothing alone. And they went to the rack.
God.
And she lent my mother this beautiful lace hat. And my mother, the picture is it's a family treasure. And my mother's wearing the hat. And then she returned it to Burton backstage after she had it cleaned. And Richard said, Elizabeth wants you to keep that. That's a gift for you. So we have the hat. It's a beautiful hat.
I love that. Now, when I bring you back on another time on the show, for the photo that we use for our little slideshow online, will you promise to take a photo with that hat so I can use that as your photo?
Absolutely. I'd be thrilled.
I would love that. Well, darling, you have been a wonderful, wonderful guest, and I think our next guest is about to arrive. Oh, that's her right now. That's her right now. So I'm going to bid you adieu, and I just want to thank you so much for stopping by, and thank you for my pot to piss in, and for bringing one for all of our audience members as well. That's very generous of you.
Yes,
and I think
because after this government shutdown, we're all going to need a pot to piss in.
You know that's right. So you have at least started that trend with our show, and I really appreciate it. And you're one of my favorite people. You always make me smile. You're generous and kind, and you got a filthy mind, and I love you.
I love you too, Michael.
All right. Bye, sweetheart. Good night.
Bye.
Oh, let's see if our... Oh, I'm coming. Okay. In Paris, I'm coming, honey. Paris, is that you? Hello, dear. Oh, you don't have to be shy, honey. Hello.
Hello. You know I don't like to wait at the door.
Oh, honey, I know that you like to primp and preen and fix your makeup and make sure that your hose isn't falling and, fix your garter belts and put on one little more layer of lip gloss by MAC. We don't wear gloss. We wear lip gloss because we're glamorous people. Yes. Oh, no. Wait, audience. Look who's here. You're fabulous. I tell you, I'm really blessed because I know a lot of wonderful, wonderful women. Not that I don't like men, because anybody who knows me know I like the boys. Okay. But when it comes to chatting it up, I love my girls, and so I'm so glad that you're available.
Oh, I would love you. You know that.
Oh, I love you too, sweetheart. And what did you bring this evening? What are you holding in your hand? I'm so fortunate that all my guests bring me gifts. Mm-hmm. What is that you're holding there? That looks very unusual.
I'm holding a pen for you right now.
A pen? It's in such an odd shape. What does that represent?
It's the key to my heart, Michael.
Oh, well, I love it. It's very abstract, and
it is.
That's what so you're like an enigma wrapped up in a mystery, or a mystery wrapped up in an enigma. One of those things. So I like that. I thought you have to take time to get to know you. But I'm so glad that you could the show tonight. And our first segment that I want to read you a little story, because strange things happen, and you're a world traveler, and you didn't grow up here in America, so I'm sure that you've seen some things that kind of make you go, oh, what's that about, right?
Yes, definitely.
So whenever we do a segue to a new segment, we have our theme. And this particular segment is called Shitz and Giggles, or crap that makes you laugh. Those slice of life moments, that happen all around us. Now the title of this story is called "Accused Serial Bank Robbers' Scaly Hands Lead to Identification and Arrest." This is from the HuffingtonPost.com, and I thought this was a very appropriate story to bring up since we just had a skincare specialist on the show with our lovely Betsy Burr. So
all right.
I thought here's a story about a bank robber whose scaly hands led to her arrest. Here goes. Jamise Christine Queen, that's really her name, Jamese, Jamise Christine Queen, according to county police, not only robbed the same Glen Burnie bank twice last month, she went to the same teller. Police said that the teller's description of the robber's scaly hands, officers said Queen has eczema, and another employee's decision to follow Queen's car after a failed third robbery attempt on Saturday helped make an arrest. At a news conference Monday morning in Millersville, County Police Chief Kevin Davis said employees' actions gave police just the break we needed. Queen, wearing her hair in braids pulled back underneath a green baseball cap, walked up to the teller with scaly hands, displayed a note demanding money. "No die pack this time," Queen told the teller. "I know when you come in. I know when you leave. Don't draw attention to yourself." When Queen displayed a note demanding money, the teller refused. Queen fled. Police were given permission to enter a nearby apartment where they found Queen either going in or coming out of a closet at the rear of the home. They searched the apartment and Queen's car and found clothing as well as a stack of $10 bills stained with red dye and a note which read, "Empty the drawer." Queen's physical description matched that of the woman given by witnesses in all three crimes. The 47-year-old suffers from eczema on her hands, giving them a scaly appearance similar to what the teller described, according to court records. Queen was caught. Michael Livingston, CEO of the Bank of Glen Burnie, said the threat of robbery is always in the back of the minds of tellers and bank employees. The teller was just extremely happy. You could just see it in her face. And let's hope that her skin was properly moisturized, because we don't need any more scaly hands or dry skin in this country. What do you think of that story?
Is that a true story? Is that a true story?
It's a true story. This is a true, strange but true story. This woman's eczema, scaly hands is what got her caught. So what
very strange.
What does that teach you? What do you think you should do in that sense?
The first thing that comes to mind is definitely moisturize.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yes. The second thing, the second thing that would come to mind would be maybe if there's nothing you can do about that, maybe wear gloves when you rob a bank.
Oh, a bank robber who wears gloves. I never thought you could. The very shishi fon fon foo foo bank robber.
That's right. And you can have, all types of gloves, with lace or leather, whatever, rocks your boat.
Then, when your name's in the news, it's very chic. You got caught because, you were the fancy glove-wearing bandit. And you never wore this hair.
Exactly.
Never wore this
versus,
hair white. Yes.
Yeah, versus her right now getting caught because of her scaly hands. That's embarrassing.
Her scaly hands. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. All the gals in prison are going to be like, you're not going to be my bitch. You got scaly hands.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when it comes to getting love in prison for her, not so much.
That's right.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we did earlier with Betsy Burr, we like to vet our guests appropriately and read a little bio about them. And Paris was kind enough to provide us with a little bio that I'm going to share with all of you this evening. So here goes. Paris Benjamin. After 10 years working in the theater world in London and Paris, she decided to move to Los Angeles and became a member of Tim Robbins' theater company, the Actors Gang, in Culver City. Born in France and of Moroccan descent, Paris performs in French, English, and Arabic, sometimes all at once. I added that part. Her most recent credits include the upcoming NCIS episode Anonymous Was a Woman with Mark Harmon, airs on CBS this coming Tuesday, October 15th at 8 p.m., and the upcoming Revenge episode Control with Madeline Stowe, which airs on ABC Sunday, October 20th at 9 p.m. Paris
it's
likes
on the
to
27th, actually.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we have a newsflash. Yes, your episode of Revenge will air on Sunday, October 27th at 9 p.m. And Paris likes to spend her free time doing improv and updating her airings of her shows and training with improv at Second City in Hollywood. My God, wow, this is like Paris Benjamin month on television.
It is actually.
I mean, that's pretty. I am so proud of you because
thank you.
Let's just bring our audience up to date about how we first met and why we had that first conversation. Because as we discovered from your bio that you weren't born in America and that you speak 3 gorgeous languages, French, English, and Arabic. So you hailed from, where did you grow up?
I grew up in France, in a small village in the center of France. But we would go back and forth. I have half of my family in Morocco as well. So I grew up between France and Morocco, basically.
Well, like everybody else. I mean, I did too.
Yeah.
No, I'm lying. Please, I was born in Montana, raised in Ohio, and reared in West Hollywood.
There you go.
It doesn't sound quite as sexy and glamorous as, well, I was spent half my time in my childhood between the middle of France and Morocco. I mean, that just sounds, oh my God. I mean, I have to undress when I say that. That's pretty sexy. So then you decide, okay, almost like Ava Gabor in Green Acres, New York is where I'd rather be. You wanted to come to America and be an actress.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's right.
Where did you end up? Where did you study?
I ended up at Stetson University in Florida, in Central Florida, where I met. Yes. No, I was going to say where I met this wonderful, wonderful teacher, acting teacher, Kenneth McCoy. And I believe this is where our connection is, you and I.
You are this. You are this to me. You are magical. Magical. Yes, it did. And Ken McCoy, the wonderful Ken McCoy, and his wonderful, wonderful wife now, Michelle. That's our connection. It's Stetson University in Florida, and Ken, who's one of the most fabulous people you'll ever know in your life, he and his wife, Michelle. And so Stetson University, I'm thinking, okay, the United States of America, and you're coming from France, and you end up at Stetson University in Florida. Wow. I mean, you say Stetson University. I'm not in it. Trust me, people, I'm not a snob when it comes to where you study. It's the quality of what you get that matters. And if anybody, after you meet Ken McCoy and the lovely Michelle, you're going to know that these are quality people. So the Lord was good to you, and He led you to the right people. But that's not necessarily a well-known name in terms of acting programs, perhaps. So what led you there? How did you end up at Stetson?
I didn't really have a choice. There were about 8 programs that were open at my university to be an exchange student, basically in the U.S. And so there was one at Brown University, one at NYU, one at UCLA, one at Stetson, and I ended up going to Stetson. It really wasn't my choice, they just decided, this person's going to go there. I think the undergraduates were going to schools like Stetson, and the graduates were going to Brown and NYU and other schools. So,
oh wow,
that's how I ended up there as an exchange student, basically.
But I mean, as you know, jumping back to this very moment for just a moment, obviously, I'm looking at the beginning and this point where you are right now. It's done you well because you're going to be on 2 top-rated television shows in the month of October. So kudos to you. I'm very proud of you. I think it's very exciting.
Thank you.
I think they're going to be. There's 2 of their favorite shows as well, and they're going to be watching and supporting you. Excellent. So now when you got there, what was that like for you coming from France? That was your first time in America, was it? When you arrived? It was
my first time.
Campus?
Yes. Yeah. It was my first time in the U.S. It was, good Lord, it was a little crazy. My dad didn't really want me to go because that summer was the summer where all the fires started in Florida. I don't know if you remember that. That was 1998.
And then a hot thing like you comes to town, and they're like, like it's not, like this brush doesn't catch fire quick enough, and then you have to come to town.
Yes. No, but there were like really crazy fires, and we would see that in the news every day in France, and my dad was like, you're not going there, baby. You're not going there. So I ended up, of course, going. And the first memory that I have of the U.S. is being at Orlando Airport, and the doors open, and this heat comes out of nowhere. Heat and humidity. I had never experienced that in my entire life. I mean, we have like crazy, crazy winters all the time. So it was just, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe, and I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to make it.
Did you go? Was that your reaction?
Yeah, I almost fainted. Wow. That was crazy. And especially, I mean, Florida in August is really, really hot, but also whenever you're inside, the air conditioning is also very, very high. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like there's always like a thermal shock every single time you go from, inside out. So it was a little crazy. That's my first memory of Florida.
Hey, darling, we have somebody on the line here. Let's see who's called in.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Michael K. from Home with Victoria.
Oh, Michael K. from At Home with Victoria. Well, thank you for calling, and how sweet. Say hello to Paris.
First time caller, long time fan. When I saw you had Paris on, I saw her in Folklore, and the winner of the Mexico International Film Festival in 2012. Wow. And Paris, I just have to say, kudos. I was so tickled. I mean, I've known Michael Taylor Gray for an hour and a half, and I'm just so thrilled to be hearing your stories, love.
Well, Michael K., I love you. That's all I have to say.
Right answer.
I have to give you your proper sound effect for a first-time caller, long-time listener. Are you ready?
Absolutely. Give me the clap. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's how it's going to be. That's how it's going to be.
I disagree.
I don't agree either, Paris, but I will have to go ahead and say, I just want to go ahead and interrupt. You've got a fantastic show, Michael Taylor Gray, up and running, and I'm very proud of you. And from Victoria and I, keep doing what you're doing, and you're doing fantastic. And Paris, a huge fan, and it's a pleasure to listen to you, seriously.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, love.
I'm willing to pimp her out because I think you'd love her on your show sometime.
Well, hey, if you want to go ahead and share a couple guests, I would totally be into that.
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
You've already got my heart. You can have my guests, too.
Well, then we'll make that happen. Paris, an absolute pleasure talking with you, seriously.
Thank
and
you so
keep
much.
doing what you're doing. You're a fantastic actress.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much.
Pleasure
to meet you, too.
Ditto.
Bye. Love you.
Love you, too.
Oh. How nice. Oh, yeah. So that was Michael K. Yeah, Michael K. is the producer of At Home with Victoria Gaither. And she's one of her nicknames is the News Lady. And she used to be a newscaster in the D.C. and Baltimore area. And she's just wonderful. And she's got a blog talk radio show called At Home Victoria. They've done, oh my God, they've done 1 million episodes by this point. And she has a terrific show. And they do just about every day of the week. And so they're very, very, yeah, and they're wonderful people. And I got to know them because he's a big fan of yours from your work, from Folklore. They support Pretty, my web series, prettytheseries.com.
Oh, yeah?
And that's how I got to know them, and I've been on numerous times on their show. And then when I've gone back east, either to do stuff to do with the web series, because we've been nominated several times with the Indie Soap Awards, and I'll spend time with them and visit the city, and I've gotten to see D.C., and let me tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, if you're ever in Washington, D.C., you won't have a better time getting to know that city than with Michael K. and Victoria Gaither. Just saying right now. Yes. So take the time, listen to At Home with Victoria, because they're just fantastic. So thank you, Michael, for dropping by.
You are really well surrounded, my friend. You have really, really good people around you, but that doesn't really surprise me.
Oh, well, thank you, sweetheart. I am truly blessed. It's one of those.
You are.
Those truly angelic dream heart moments.
No, seriously, you are blessed, but we are blessed to have you too. I mean,
oh my God, people are going to think I'm paying you all, and I probably am.
No.
Okay, I'm paying you with my love. Now, you're very, very sweet. Thanks, sweet. Now, I know one of the things I love that you said about yourself is that you love traveling, particularly if you can do it long enough to immerse yourself completely and blend in with the population. Now, with that in mind, though, once that wall of heat hit you and then you recovered and you had a chance to, what was the culture shock like for you in Orlando from where you grew up?
Well, first of all, I had to learn English. That was a big, big step for me. I mean, I knew how to make sentences and everything, but my grammar wasn't that very good, and my accent pronunciation was terrible. So I really had to focus on that, first of all. But it's, I was very well surrounded in the sense that I was at university. I wasn't just thrown into some town without knowing anyone. I was still on campus, so there was not much difference between my the campus at Stetson and my campus in France. Students are still students, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I love how you say I was at university.
Yeah,
I love that. That sounds very posh.
How do you say that?
No, but it's exactly how. What do you mean? How do you say that? That's exactly how you say it, ladies and gentlemen. Whenever you tell people that you went to college, you say, "I was at university." That's how you say it. I've decided that is the Paris Benjamin way of putting it out there. I don't mean like that. You know what I'm saying. So I love it.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, so you, I love that because that to me is a significant window into who you are as an actress as well, because you like to immerse yourself and really and I've seen your work on stage and to me acting is as much about listening as it is speaking and being an active listener. Yeah, unlike me who's like I'm blah 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 blah. So this show is a good lesson for me in how to be an active listener and let a guest finish their sentence. So how quickly did you blend in, into the surrounding environment of school at university? At university.
Yeah, I blend really, really quickly. Everywhere I go, it feels to me that wherever I go after a couple of days, it feels to me that I've been there for years, which is a great feeling and at the same time not so great because you feel like, I'm ready to move on already, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Because I think you're an old soul. Oh, that was a moment of introspection.
Yeah, no, I have been told that like many times.
And you don't know how to react to that.
Yeah, because I don't particularly understand what it means. I mean, I know what it means, but I don't really grasp, what it really means to be an old soul. So I don't know. But it's interesting that, the people who know me the best have told me that, yes.
Yeah. Well, I think I just get this sort of like you've been here before kind of quality about there's a depth. So the way you describe your ability to sort of sit in right away, and then there's that sense of restlessness that you want to move on to the next adventure. There's that sense, like a young spirit might want to just everything around me is so new, and I love it. I've got to experience everything. But you're like, okay, I've seen that, done it, seen it, done it, seen it, done it.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I love that.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, I wake up pretty much every morning, in my life thinking there's the whole like Asian continent that I haven't even touched yet. So I'm like, it's great to be in certain places. I mean, I'm in California now, and I have to stay because, work-wise, I have to stay. And I need to do whatever I set my mind to do. But there's a whole world to explore. There's a whole world to explore out there. And I'm just, looking forward to that.
Absolutely. And can I just say that I think the Asian continent has a lot to look forward to with you touching it because you're awfully sexy. So,
thank you.
Yeah, boy, they're going to be some good touching going on when you get to the Asian continent. Our Asian fans.
Wait.
Oh,
I
honey.
cannot wait.
Oh, they're going to love you long time. Oh, don't even go, please. Please, you don't. Okay, and what I find interesting about you as well, because you're a really multifaceted spirit, is that you love sports, and you are
I do.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't fuck with this girl. It's not her first time at the rodeo.
Right.
She's brown belt in Taekwondo and a huge fan of Bruce Lee because he was a philosopher, and in your opinion, he really understood the meaning of life. And that's because Americans have this vision of Bruce Lee and they think of his films, but you have this really in-depth kind of appreciation for him. So I would love to hear more.
Yeah, I think he was very simple. To me, he was a very simple man in his philosophy. You know, it was very basic, and it was about life. And I grew up, my dad was a huge fan, still a huge fan of Bruce Lee, so we grew up just, watching his films all the time and, fighting with my brother, building fake nunchucks, nunchakus, with toilet paper roll and tape. This is how I grew up, basically.
I did that on a date one time.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
Are we still on?
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I was saying, you did that on a date? Not good.
I'm pretending. That's common. Wow.
Okay, now I want to know what happened on that date.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think I blacked out. But you were saying.
You blacked out or you got knocked out?
Well, right. Who knows? How many times have you woken up in a trunk tied up and it was Tuesday? You're like, what the hell? Yeah.
Exactly.
I know. It's just another day of the week. So, so Bruce Lee, wow. When did you key into that?
When did what?
When did you key into that sort of appreciation for him? When did you look at this man and his work and go, how did you come to that viewpoint of him, of thinking of him as a philosopher?
It's just, have you ever heard him talk in his interviews? It's like it's very clear. I don't know. I'll send you a few quotes and you'll be the judge.
Okay.
You'll be the judge of it. So yeah,
even more gifts. Even more gifts. You're giving me even more gifts. That's just
yes,
lovely.
I will because I love you.
Oh, I love you guys.
No, it's the simplicity that, I come from a very simple family, a very simple background as well. And so my dad, being a huge fan, and I just felt, when I was growing up, if daddy, is looking up to this man, there's got to be something to it, So this is when my brother and I started to really watch the films, growing up, not just, for the fights and everything, but really listen to what he was about and watching interviews. And we've got every single film, every single interviews we've got at home. And this is when I was like, okay, so I understand, why someone like my dad, who's, I don't like to say basic because it's, kind of negative, but someone just like a simple person, a simple human being. I understood why my dad, would look up to this man.
Wow. That's really cool to hear. So I bet we can go on to YouTube and look him up and try to find some of those interviews, because that's a side of him that I would love to learn to appreciate, because most of us, think of if Bruce Lee is coming at us, we're going to, because he's going to lay down the law and we better run real quick.
Well, so, I like very much that side of Bruce Lee too, kicking ass. Yeah, absolutely.
It's enjoyable.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yes. And wow. So tell me about this this brown belt. It's not brown because you didn't wash it. Well, you didn't wash it with your white
brown.
blood.
No, it's brown because I earned it. I still have. What did you say, Michael?
I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I won't break up with you ever.
No, don't ever do that, ever.
So the brown belt, what level is that in terms of the levels?
That's the one. You've got one more belt before black belt. So you've got brown, red, and black.
I look good in red.
So,
I stop at red.
Mm-hmm. You would stop at red? Is that what you said?
I might stop at red because I really look good in red. I love red.
Yes, and there's red and red with a white stripe. So, yeah.
Oh,
you would look
accent.
good with the white, the red with a white stripe, for sure.
Okay, I'll go for that. Okay.
Yeah, so no, there's only one belt left before you get the black one, so we'll see.
Oh, wow. So are you is that something that is a daily part of your life?
This was a daily part of my life until 4.5 months ago, and during Taekwondo, during the testing, I ripped my tendons on my left knee, so I have to take it easy right now.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Well, good. Yeah, please take care of yourself because I'm gonna.
I am.
Yeah, I'm gonna because with this new news to me, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't know everything about everybody in my life, and so I love discovering things for the first time too, as does my audience. So this is a side of you I didn't know about because now I'm ready to hire you as like my personal bodyguard because not only will we have fun conversations, but you can kick some ass for me if ever anybody gets in my face and doesn't need to be there.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate that. Yeah, it will have
Absolutely.
good cause. I would never have you do it just to say, "Oh, kick that person's ass" because that'll be fun. That's not that's not the spirit of it. It's gotta be.
And like we said, there is a philosophy, behind it.
Exactly.
As well. Yeah.
Exactly. Now let's do a little bit of a segue here, my dear, and then with our segues we have. Now, I'd like to call this moment Chapter 12.
Ooh.
Chapter 12. Our lives are like chapters in a book. What is the title, Paris Benjamin, of your current life chapter? What is your Chapter 12?
My Chapter 12 would be... exhaustion.
Can you hear that was a little bit of kind of an exhausted applause from our audience because they feel your exhaustion. Now, but that's a good exhaustion. And let me expand on that for just a moment because let me tell you, if anybody knows anything about kabuki, Japanese theater, when we see in America when we see somebody in a live performance, we go, "Oh my God, I loved you. You were so good. Oh my God, you're so talented." I learned from a wonderful kabuki acting troupe that came to my undergraduate college, Bowling Green State University in Ohio, that the greatest compliment that you can give to an actor after a show is to say, "You look very tired."
That means he gave his all.
Yeah, and it was and I love that. It's like honey, you left everything there, everything on the stage. There's nothing. Yeah, and I like that. So that sense of exhaustion. I like that you chose that word for your because that to me that's an empowered word. It's not a negative word at all. So
it also means what comes behind it is that you're working hard. Whatever it is you do, you're working hard, and that's the result of it. So I believe it's something positive. I wish I could rest a little bit though, but there's time for it.
We'll
Christmas
rest when
is
we're
coming
dead,
up.
honey. There'll be plenty of time to rest when we're dead.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
No.
You're absolutely right.
Now, are you going to be doing any traveling anytime soon?
Yes, I'm going home for a couple of months, actually. I will finish. I'm waiting for episodics, basically, to end. And I'm doing a show, actually, at the end of this month. This is also why I'm a little crazy tired, because we have rehearsals and a lot of stuff going on. But once this is over, I'm planning on going home for a couple of months over Christmas and New Year's Eve.
Home to France?
Yes, to Mom and Dad,
Mom and Dad. Will you see any of your family in Morocco?
Well, I don't know because I'm getting meetings also in London while I'll be there. So I don't know how many trips I can actually make once I'm there. So the main thing is to spend as much time as possible with my parents and then go and meet those casting directors in London and then see what happens from there.
But you are like Miss Fancy Pants. I mean, how many people can say, "Well, I've got to go back home to France to spend some time with mon père, mon père, and ma mère, and then I have to ma mère, and then I have to, take the airplane to London to meet with the Queen, and
That's right.
have high tea, and all that, and see the baby. You got to see the new baby."
That's right. I forgot
and
about
apparently,
the baby.
yeah, and apparently while you're there, I think you're going to be safe from Harry's grasp, because apparently it looks like he may be getting engaged. We may have another royal wedding on our hands.
No,
yeah.
He's too young.
And oh no, it's time for him. He's almost 30.
Well, he's too young. I think everybody is too young to ever get married.
Yeah.
Even at 60,
and her
you're
name,
still too young to get married.
60?
Yes.
I love you. Because I'm nowhere near that. But anyway, I think her name is Cressida. Cressida.
Ooh,
Can you,
that's kind of a cool name.
I love it. Yeah, her name, Princess Cressida. Yeah, she's this cute little blonde. Who knew, right? So
yeah, right.
We'll see. It's going to be, we can have a series of infatuation. But now we are ready for our next segment, and to bring that up, so we have to bring back our magical harp. And because you're such a world traveler, and you are a woman, and you are all woman. Okay. That's right. I'm a little gassy from this soda. I'm drinking this blood orange soda from the world market, and it's making me a little burpy. So I apologize if you're hearing that over.
And what were you saying with Betsy about food giving you gas? It's all about gas tonight. I said when you were talking with Betsy about food that, sometimes food give you gas.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had to ask.
Yes, I did.
This is okay. This segment, Paris Benjamin, is called Just the Tip. Seulement le tip.
Le tip.
A how-to moment where Paris Benjamin and I will give you just enough info to get you started. After all, we're entertainment prostitutes, not whores. We don't just give it all up away for free. When we say just the tip, say that in French, please.
Juste le tip.
We mean it most days. Okay, for Juste le tip this week, our featured show tip is top 10 tips for safe travel as a single woman. Now, or a gay man. Yeah. So this is from MatadorNetwork.com. I just like that. Oh. I thought they must know what they're talking about at Matador.
Yeah, right.
It sounded very, very, very affirmative. So, and I'm going to say these tips, and I want you to expand on them because you are so well traveled, and this will help our other lady travelers and our other fellow gay men like myself who might consider ourselves at times ladies in terms of the ethereal aspect of what it means to be a lady. We might feel a little bit vulnerable when we're traveling alone. So the first of our top 10, okay, here goes. Stay aware. This doesn't mean actively practicing paranoia. It only means when you are walking from your hotel into town, register landmarks and remember street names.
Ooh. So you want me to expand on that? To tell you how I feel about this?
That's how the game works.
Well, I am extremely bad at having any sense of direction.
Oh.
The first time, I'm going to tell you a story. The first time I came to LA, and I was staying at a friend's house in Hollywood, and he told me, and I said, I need to open a bank account and stuff. So it was like, just go to Bank of America, it's down the road. So he drew me a little map from Hollywood Boulevard. But he wasn't living on Hollywood Boulevard. No, just on a little piece of paper. So drew me a map. I get to the bank, come out of the bank, and I'm going around and around and around trying to find the apartment again. I did not have his address. I did not have a cell phone, a phone number, or anything. So I'm like, oh, my goodness, I'm an adult. I'm going to stop the cops and tell them I'm lost. I don't know where I live. It's like, no, this is not possible. I just went around and around until I found the place. Yes. Okay. So in terms of being aware of your surroundings, I'm the worst person you can ever ask.
So you're more like a man when it comes to...
Yeah, I have a one-track mind, yeah.
Well, well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that. That's good. Well, okay. But you freely admit it, so that's very important. Okay, number 2. Yeah. This may be a little difficult since you didn't do it in the first one. Trust your female instincts. Traveling to foreign lands does not mean that a woman puts her instincts on holiday too. You may not know the language or even the lay of the land, but a woman has great awareness when it comes to knowing if someone means well or ill.
Yeah, well, that has nothing to do with the first one.
Oh, fine. All right, I'm not going to fight. Did you know Taekwondo?
No.
And I'm not going to fight with you.
That's right. You're lucky. There's a glass window between you and me right now, so I can't touch you. So you're lucky.
Yeah. I'm not letting you know you're not getting through, but no, you're not going to get through this glass window.
All right. I'll calm down. Give me a second. Okay. I'll calm down. All right.
Breathe.
I'm good.
Breathe.
I'm good.
Tell me about
instinct is instinct. You know, it's like wherever you're going to be, if you feel you're in the wrong place or you feel that the people surrounding you are not the right people, then, you know, just get the hell out of there. It doesn't matter where you are, if you're in a foreign country or if, you know, in the middle of Hollywood. It doesn't really matter. You know what I mean?
Are you in tune with your instincts? Do you listen to them?
That's a good question.
You know what I mean?
That's a very good question. I know when there's something wrong, and when I should get out of there, but there's always like this little part of me as well that wants to see how far it's going to go. So
yeah. Because you know, like in relationships, I'm like up until recently, I'm like if there's a red flag, I say, oh, red. Oh, pretty. I like red. Yeah. Red's such a lovely. And like it's like, hello, it's a red flag.
But there's a difference as well into, you know, between seeing the red flag and not knowing what it means, or seeing the red flag knowing what it means, but you still allow yourself to go a little bit further. Do you know what I mean? So
that's why I have a safe word. That's why I have a safe word.
A safe word?
Yeah.
What's
so when
that?
It's gonna go when it goes a little too far.
Yeah.
This goes back to the nunchucks conversation a little bit ago.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to have a safe word. You know.
Okay.
If he takes it a little too far.
Yeah.
Don't you have a safe word?
They're my nunchakas. Yeah.
Okay. My safe word is Miss Rahi.
Miss Rocky?
Miss Rahi.
Miss Rahi. What does that mean?
Yeah. Well, that's a designer.
Oh. And that's your safe word?
Yeah, like if a guy's getting a little too rough with me. I'm like, Miss Rahi! Miss Rahi! Yeah.
That's why I'm telling you, I don't have, like, my safe word is my actual nunchakus that are, you know, in my apartment.
Mine is that relationship that's gone too far, and I got to shout out, Miss Rahi! Then, you know, we're done.
That's the best safe word I've ever heard.
It's great, but you don't have to use a safe word because you've got your body is your safe word because you got that brown belt. You can show them, and you know I'm wearing a red belt with white stripe in it, but I'm only wearing it because it's cute. So now here we go. Yeah. So our third tip for safe travel as a single woman, or I'm adding as a gay man, a gay guidebook. A guidebook can be better than a boyfriend. They often have great maps, give you choices about all ranges of accommodation, and are a great reference when that restaurant no longer exists or that shopping district is not where you thought it was.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Or that apartment is not where you remember it was because you didn't write it down.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So do you use guidebooks?
If I use a guidebook?
Mm-hmm.
No, never. I never bought that stuff. No. I really don't understand the whole concept of, for me it's like, you know, going to, do you know the Club Med? Do you guys have that here?
Yes.
Okay. So you know the concept of a Club Med, you know, like you go somewhere, you know, on a tour as a group and you just go to the nicest hotels and like the safest places and stuff like that.
All planned
to
out.
me that's what, it's all planned out. I mean, for me a guidebook is a little bit like that, not to that extreme, but I don't like to know where I'm going. I usually, I mean, don't get me wrong.
Wow.
Wherever I go, I always have.
Isn't for you, is it?
It's what?
I said this list just isn't for you. But
no,
it
it's
makes
not.
a great conversation. I love it.
It's definitely not my time of traveling. That's for sure.
Because what you just said, like, boy, that's gonna be. You're gonna love some of these things as they come up here. Okay.
But no, definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah. Number 4, busy places are best. Remember your dad warned you about walking down dark alleys? Paris Benjamin. Think about things you wouldn't do in your home country, like walking down isolated roads or taking hikes without telling someone where you are going, Paris. Finding places where a lot of people can go actually makes a woman less of a target and helps her to blend in more with the surroundings. I think you might respectfully disagree.
Well, I would not go into a dark alley in Mexico, for example. I've been there, but yeah, I was very not particularly careful because I have dark skin, so nobody like really paid attention to me. I guess everybody thought I was from Tijuana. But
what about a dark alley? What about a dark alley in Sherman Oaks?
I've never been to Sherman Oaks.
Well, I'll find a dark alley, and then I'll give you the.
Go.
Well, no, I'll send you like the Google Maps, and then you report back to me.
But then I'll try it more as a dare now that we talked about it. No, I mean, talking about being aware of your surroundings, that's like one of those moments where it's not being aware, it's just having common sense.
Well, you're anything but common, my dear. Anything but common.
Well, then I have sense from time to time.
Exactly. I have sense. I do. Well, occasionally. Now, number 5.
Occasionally.
Occasionally. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I don't. It's. They talk. It's not as exciting as it sounds. So number 5. Take calculated risks. Traveling is about risk, after all. Jumping on a bus to an unknown destination, talking to strangers in a bar, getting off the map. As a woman, you can minimize problems by basic planning. Try to avoid arriving in places at night. Have enough money with you to check into a hotel without going to an ATM when you arrive somewhere new. And don't go off with your new friends if you have no idea how to get home. And don't open a checking account without writing down the address of the apartment that you're staying at.
Well, once again, common sense. Once again.
Yes.
Good God.
Right?
Well, I would have to disagree with the statement again, in the sense that, not talking to strangers in bars, not talking to people. So, I mean, what's the point of traveling in a foreign country if it's not to mix with the people? I don't get that. If I didn't talk to
strangers in bars, I'd never get lucky.
Say that again?
I said, if I didn't talk to strangers in bars, I'd never get lucky.
Well, yeah, first of all, but second of all, without even thinking about that, it's like, you have to meet people. How are you going to meet people? The whole planning ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but excuse me, putting that aside, what? Really?
Yes.
There's another reason to talk to strangers in the bar?
There's another reason to talk to strangers.
See, now, ladies and gentlemen, even I can learn on the show.
Exactly.
What would that other reason be to talk to strangers?
Well, just to learn a little bit more about the culture and how people live their lives over there and things like that. Yeah, it could be interesting.
Oh,
it could be
I'm
the
going to
main
try
reason why. It could be the main reason why you decide to travel to start with.
Oh, well, the next time I travel, I'll have my some form of video capture device in my hand, and I will capture that moment, and I will let people know. Paris Benjamin says, I probably should ask you more than about having sex with you and find out a little bit more about your culture as well. And I'm going to see how
do that before or after.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, thank you for giving me a little bit of wiggle room, so to speak, in there. Okay. Number 6. Book your first night hotel. If you are showing up in a country for the first time, it is wise to get a room booked ahead of time. It saves you time driving aimlessly in a taxi after 2 hours sleep in 2 days. After the first night, you can always find another hotel that suits you better. Have you done that? I thought that was kind of good advice.
I agree 150% with that. Even 200%. Yeah, no, definitely. You need a place to stay, to start with, and then you have the whole day the next day, or book the hotel for a couple of days so there's no pressure, and then, start going around and find, the area where you want to stay. So, yeah, no, I definitely would have to agree with that.
Yeah, and nowadays, because there's so much that you can find out online, it's not like you just looked it up in some, yellow pages, and some brochure. You can actually, check it out, and then ask people maybe in that area through Facebook, like a new Facebook friend. Yeah.
And also, I mean, a lot of people travel these days, so you always have a friend who's been there before. So you can always ask someone. I mean, all the people surrounding me that have been traveling, for many, many years. So I can always call a friend and be like, hey, you've been to that area. What do you recommend? They'll be like, okay, good.
Well, unless it's like Antarctica or something like that. That might be a little difficult.
That might be a little difficult, but then,
And how do you dress for that weather?
Yeah, but if you go to those places and all that, you must be prepared. You must be prepared.
Which leads us to number 7. Dress according to the culture.
Oh, my God.
Western and
absolutely.
sometimes So what has your experience been like for that?
No, I mean yes, absolutely. I've seen the most is incredulous a word?
Incredulous. You felt incredulous
that
about
word?
You have
what would
felt
that mean?
that. Well, it's like unbelievable.
Yes.
It's
okay.
like,
so that's the same word as in French. Okay. I've seen some people do some like stupid stuff, and
right.
I've seen American girls in Muslim countries, and I'm like, what? Really?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like.
Because it says here, understanding a country's culture and dress code will save a woman from unwanted attention, but it will also allow her to interact more comfortably with the local population. Yeah, so not wearing your shorty shorts and your halter top and your flip flops in a Muslim country, it might help you out a little bit. So and I have to say, it really in this day and age, there's no excuse to travel without having without having.
No, I agree.
Yeah. So and so that do you notice coming from Europe, do you notice that Europeans have a greater sensibility of that and understanding of that than Americans do naturally, you think?
I would say no.
Oh,
I don't think we have a better understanding or sensibility, but we live very, very close, in France I lived half of my life in France, the other half in the UK, but we live very, very close from Africa, from North Africa, for example. So everything that happens there, we know about. So it's more, I don't think it's a matter of sensibility, it's just a matter of knowledge. We don't have a choice, it's there in front of our eyes. So you have to know. I understand that there's a bigger gap between the United States, and not just the United States and Muslim countries, just the United States and the rest of the world, really. Yeah. From what I've noticed. But like you said, you travel. The first thing that I would check when I travel is, who are those people? What kind of culture am I getting involved with? And how are the people dressed? And how to be respectful.
That's very wise. See, now you and the list are becoming one. Can you feel that? You feel it?
Finally.
It's that magic happened. That magical moment is happening. It's beautiful. Yes. Now, this number 8 on our top 10 list, this is something we all really should pay attention to. Have fun, but watch your drinks. Nightlife is one of the great perks of travel. If you are traveling alone, enjoy yourself, but bear in mind that being tipsy in your own neighborhood is a lot different than being tipsy in a bar in Africa, speaking of Africa. For one, your instincts are shot and any potential dangers go unnoticed. Secondly, getting home can be dicey, especially in foreign cabs on unknown streets.
Yeah, I would never
Have you ever been tipsy?
Forever.
You've never been tipsy in a foreign cab on an unknown street?
No, never, ever. And I would recommend, if people drink and all that, that they would be in a group that they really trust. But it's the same everywhere, It's like here you don't drink or do drugs with people you don't know. That's my motto.
Uh-oh. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't do drugs or anything, but it's like, if you have to do drugs or whatever, just do it with people that you trust. I feel the same, like if you go somewhere else.
Our audience only does drugs within the studio with each other because they've gotten to know each other very well. So I don't mind. I don't judge. I don't judge, but
my goodness.
as long as it doesn't interfere with the show and they're not heckling, they do drugs amongst themselves. So
I love the fact that I'm like talking about drugs and I've never ever taken drugs in my entire life, but I love the fact that I'm like, yeah, you have to do drugs, just make sure you do it with the people you love.
Be responsible. Exactly. Nice. Be responsible. Don't end up being in the news for all the wrong reasons. Now, number 9 is leave your valuables in the hotel. Well, if you must, bring copies of your passport with you when you go out and explore, but lock all your valuables away. Flashy jewelry and handbags make great fodder for thieves. Check if your hotel has a safe, or bring your own lock with you for your valuables and leave them in the room. I don't know. Okay.
Well, the most important thing, this is funny, I was just talking about that with my roommate yesterday, and I was saying if the house burns down tomorrow, I don't care to lose everything. I'm not, like what do you call it? Like a person who likes possessions or anything. I own like pretty much nothing. But I was saying I would cry.
You're a minimalist.
Yes, I'm a minimalist, definitely. But I would cry if I would lose my passport, or if my passport gets burned, like I will have a heart attack. So I would never leave my passport in the hotel. I would always keep it with me, and if it gets stolen, it gets stolen on me. At least I knew, I had it with me. Whereas to travel with your jewelry and all that, I don't really understand why people would want to do that.
Yeah,
go on vacation, bring their jewelry with them. I don't know.
I mean, why are you going to be wearing flashy jewelry? Unless you're like, Mariah Carey or you're like the princess that's going to be the next Queen of England. Then you've got body
honey,
you've got body
clothes. Exactly. And those people don't stay in the same hotels we stay at. So
are you kidding me? What is that supposed to mean?
I'm sorry, I was talking about myself. I was not including you. Of course not.
And when you say you don't stay at the same hotel as the Queen, you're not talking about me.
No. You stay at the same hotels as Mariah Carey. I am sure of that, because you are fabulous. But no, I'm talking about me. I wouldn't stay in this type of hotel. So I would not trust the safe over there. I like to have my own stuff on me when I travel.
I've seen your stuff, and it's nice. So I think you should have your own stuff. Yeah,
yes, I did.
I do. You're lovely. Now, our last of our top 10. This has been a very good conversation piece. I like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Because you don't always have to say yes to the list. It's whatever you feel. That's why we tie this into our guests and to your life and what makes sense for you. And since you are a world traveler, I thought you'd have a lot to say about this.
Yeah.
So now number 10.
We just realized that I have no common sense when I'm telling people to do drugs. So it's great.
But
I'm learning things about myself.
You are, and we should all learn about ourselves, not just me. So, and number 10 makes sense because this is who you are. Make friends with other travelers. Traveling as a woman alone or as a gay man can be brilliant. But in the off chance you want to go somewhere remote and would like company, having the GPS on other travelers is a great way to do it. Travelers often watch each other's backs. I like to watch their fronts sometimes. And sometimes this is the best insurance of all is connecting with people and looking out for one another and making friends. And I have to say that is true for me. I have the very first cruise I ever went on. And I'm not talking just driving around the neighborhood looking for, a little something. But this was on a Carnival cruise, and my friend Kat Harold, I just love her to death. She's a flight attendant with Delta Airlines, and she was on a vacation with her mom and dad. And I took a Carnival cruise vacation with cousins and an uncle of mine, and we became fast friends. We were dancing our tushes off at the local club, and and the ship is shifting this way and it's shifting this way. And so dancing to disco music in a club on a ship, sailing the seas is really challenging. But that was fun, and we're friends to this day, and that's been like
it's wonderful.
10 years. Yeah. So have you found that you've made a lot of friends in your travels?
Well, I mean, your story is just wonderful, and it's exactly how things should be. I rarely travel with people, very rarely. I have two best friends in Florida that I travel with. Whenever I go and visit them in Florida, then we take a little trip together. But whenever I travel somewhere else in the world, I always travel by myself. I don't like to go with people. But, this is the main reason why I travel by myself. Like I said, to immerse myself in different cultures, so you have to talk to people. I love that.
Wow.
I love meeting new people. Oh, by the way, I just want to add this, we were connected through Ken McCoy.
Right.
So
From
we're
Stetson
not
University.
Yeah, from Stetson. So you and I were not really strangers, but you're the very first person I met in Los Angeles when I came here during my summer at Stetson, because Ken put us in contact. So you're the very first person I met in California, in Los Angeles.
Well, I love that I'm the very first person you met, and I'm very proud of that. And like I said, and seeing your tenacity and seeing you really just bit by bit, step by step, build an acting career here in America, here in Los Angeles in particular. It's wonderful. This is a good lesson for all of us, because this is a very you're welcome. This is a very, very challenging path to follow, a career path, and like anything that's a career, there's a lot. Like I said, people who love entertainment, people who are big fans of particular shows and things like that, there's a lot that's very glamorous and exciting about Hollywood. But when you're in it, when it's your career, it's a tough path. It's really challenging, and it's a calling, and it's something you feel you have to do. And it's not. This isn't a hobby for us, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears goes in to getting that revenge episode, which is airing October 27th on ABC, and your NCIS, which is airing Tuesday the 15th, right? On CBS. So there's a lot that goes into just getting those auditions, let alone booking the job. So I'm really, really proud of you, and that it's gone from that first meeting. You're welcome. And Ken, who was a mentor and a friend of yours from Stetson University, where you studied acting here in the States and honed your skills. Ken and I know each other from the Huron Playhouse, Huron, Ohio, along the shores of Lake Erie, 7 miles east of Sandusky, where Cedar Point Amusement Park is. But the Huron Playhouse is Ohio's longest-running summer stock theater, and Ken and I knew each other. Yeah, it's been going on now since 1949. It's been running every summer since 1949, and
that's incredible.
Pretty amazing. And Ken McCoy has got to be one of my favorite directors of all time from that part of my life. He directed me in Lend Me a Tenor, and just a marvelous, marvelous man, and such a giving heart.
He's just so generous. He's just so generous. It's incredible. I'm
just thrilled that his life led him to Stetson, and that your life led to him, and then he connected us. So, and that's how life should work. And and that's why I'm doing this show. That's why I'm doing OMTG, because it gives me a chance to bring in fabulous, fascinating people with really interesting stories and share them with other people. So I love.
Sounded just like me. Fabulous people with fabulous lives. Sounded like you were just describing me right now.
Absolutely, because you are dreaming.
I was just waiting for the sound that goes with it.
Yes, absolutely. And now, here. Sorry.
Oh, no.
We have to balance it out. We have to balance it out. But that was a segue into our next segment. And this segment of the show is called Jukebox 5. And this is where I put on my artistic blinders, my little artistic musical thong, and my flip-flops, and my sparkly disco top, and I grab 5 musical artists in very inappropriate places, and I share them with our guests and our listeners. Now, this first song is a song that you chose for our audience this evening, so I'm going to play it, give a little background on it, and then have you tell us why you chose this song. So are you ready?
Is that my favorite song?
It is. Ladies and gentlemen, would you like to introduce the name of the song and the band?
Yes, the name of the song is Let's Bang, and the band is a French rock band called Chaka Ponk.
Here goes.
I
Bang.
Yay!
Featured guests tonight, Paris Benjamin's favorite song by the French rock band Chaka Punk, and that was cut 16 seconds to 1 minute from the YouTube clip. Chaka Punk got its start between Paris and Berlin, not Paris who we're speaking to, but the city in Berlin in 2005 from a concept that brings together music, imagery, and energy. The former web designer and frontman of the group, Fra, F-R-A-H, along with guitarist Cece, came up with a project that combined conventional rock and roll elements, dirty guitar riffs and beats, with techniques such as Vjing, V-J-I-N-G, which mixes sounds and images around in an animated monkey character. Vjing, which mixes sounds and images around an animated monkey character named Goz, G-O-Z, who is considered as much a part of the group as the other 5 members. Since then, the band has been active online, creating videos and motion graphic work, along with their conceptual style, as well as their own online channel, Monkey TV. Wow. Yes. You've really introduced us to something really, really fun and unique here. So what led you to them and becoming such a rabid fan of their work?
Well, there's this guy from a band that I used to love in high school called Noir Désir. And so the lead guy's name is Bertrand Cantat, and he did I had no idea about this band, and a friend of mine in France sent me a clip with that guy from Noir Désir and Chaka Punk, doing a duet. And I was like, oh, my God, who are those guys? So it was only a few months ago that my friend introduced me to that. He knows I love, French rock and stuff, and I've been so disconnected with everything that's been happening in Europe since I've been to California, honestly. You have to make an extra effort to find out, what's happening in the rest of the world when you're here, because everything is very centered, about, what we do here. So you start to get lazy a little bit. So I kind of separated myself, I would say, from culture and music and everything that I love over there. And my friend was like, oh, my God, no, you have to listen to this band. This is totally your style. The girl really kicks ass. You're going to love it. And I listened to them, and I was like, wow. That particular album from that song, Let's Bang, I can't remember the name of the album, but it's like one song after the other is amazing. It's pure French rock.
It's talk about energy. I love that it's such a combination of all those elements of music, imagery, and energy. And it's just, wow. I mean, who needs to do drugs? Just listen to Chaka Punk,
Sorry?
I said, who needs to do drugs? Just listen to Chaka Punk.
Yeah, just listen to Chaka Punk and watch the videos. They're hilarious.
Yes, they're really a lot of fun. But this leads to our second song, which was a suggested song by our top of the show guest, our sidekick, Miss Betsy Burr. And but not everybody might not be a fan of Chaka Punk, and they might say this about you in terms of that music. And this is Scared of You by Nelly.
And I'm sorry that I made myself feel better by making you feel never good enough. I know you'll shine much brighter than I ever could. Maybe that is why I'm scared of you.
That was Scared of You by Nelly Furtado. And
that was lovely.
Yeah, it's from her debut album, Whoa, Nelly, which was well received by critics for its eccentric yet intriguing instrumentations, as well as Furtado's vocals. Slant magazine called it a delightful and refreshing antidote to the army of pop princesses and rap metal bands that had taken over popular music at the turn of the millennium. Yeah, I hadn't heard that. I'm not familiar with all the music from her first album. Of course, most people know, what was the first song off of that album? I would like a bird to fly away.
Yep.
You know,
Remember that one? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's what kind of got her going. That's off that album, but that was so that's a track I don't know. Believe it was never released as a single, but it's lovely.
I remember
it's
one
lovely.
song. I think it's Nell Furtado, "Promiscuous." Wasn't it her with Justin Timberlake and Timbaland?
Yes. Oh, I love that.
Yes, I love that
Because
song.
after that first album, they weren't quite sure. I think how to sort of put how to promote her or put out what slot that she felt fit in. But I love when she broke away from did all that kind of dance and sexy and gritty kind of stuff and kind of let loose. It was kind of like a Christina Aguilera kind of thing. Just you let the genie out of the bottle.
Exactly.
That was a lot,
love that.
A lot of fun. Now, the next 3 songs, because you always do Jukebox 5, there are 5 songs. The next song, we go back a little bit in time, and since you give us such international flavor, I wanted to give something from, pardon me, from my youth that brought a little bit of international flavor to my life at the time.
All right.
The sun would shine once again. You've been mine, oh mine. But in reality, you alone never be. 'Cause you took your love away from me. Oh, baby, you took your love away from me.
That is Sukiyaki.
Wow.
Sukiyaki by A Taste of Honey. The lyrics tell the story of a man who looks up and whistles while he is walking so that his tears will not fall. The verses of the song describe his memories and feelings. Rokosuke A wrote this song while coming back from a protest against the Treaty of Mutual Cooperation and Security between the United States and Japan and feeling dejected about the failure of the protest movement, but the lyrics were rendered purposefully generic so that they might refer to any lost love. The English language lyrics of the version, recorded by A Taste of Honey, are not a translation of the original Japanese lyrics, but instead a completely different set of lyrics arranged to the same basic melody. I just remember loving that song, you know.
Yeah.
And I love that it borrows from, you know, I love the original story behind the original lyrics of the song.
I was just about to say, you know, this is when you get inspired. I was hearing, you know, the way you were describing it, and that is like, well, yeah, you can only be inspired, you know, by things like that.
I mean, just the image of a man who looks up and whistles while he's walking so that his tears will not fall.
Tears don't fall, yeah.
Oh, I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, really? Are you trying to make me cry? So, no, I love that. That was fun. And The Taste of Honey, you know, I loved. I'm a big disco fan, so it was a natural. So here's another song from around that same time, and this is how I feel about you right now, and how all of our fans who are listening feel about you at this very moment, especially Michael K.
Ooh.
When you lay in my arms, you do the things you do. You can see it in my eyes, I can feel it in your touch. You don't have to say a thing, just let me show how much love you, need you, yeah. I wanna kiss you all over again. I wanna kiss you all over till the night closes in, till the night closes in. No one else could ever make me feel.
That was Kiss You All Over. It's a 1978
that was
song.
sexy.
Isn't that good? Are you familiar with that song?
Yes. I loved that. That was very sexy.
It was one of my favorite songs from that time. Now, Sukiyaki by Taste of Honey was released in '81, but this Kiss You All Over by Exile was released in 1978. It was written by Mike Chapman and Nicky Chin. It was included on the band's album Mixed Emotions, and it featured Jimmy Stokely and guitarist J.P. Pennington on lead vocals. It was a #1 hit in the United States, and it proved to be Exile's only big hit in the pop rock market. So it's their one-hit wonder song in terms of, the big hits. I think they had another song that hit maybe like number 38 or number 40, but they never really had anything to the level of that success. Whenever I hear that song, it's very, very sexy.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So so you were familiar with that? Was that a song that was familiar to you growing up, or that you've heard since being in the United States?
Not at all. I've never heard it until just now.
So just now?
Just now. And you got me dancing.
That is awesome. So whenever I hear sexy music, sometimes I touch myself inappropriately. Yeah, and there's always that one gal in the audience, always that one gal who just gets a little bit unnerved about it. But this last song of our 5 songs in Jukebox 5, to wrap up our show this evening, speaking of dancing, because you just were, it inspired you to dance, Kiss You All Over did. This song was the very first 45 record that I ever had. Now, it wasn't released at a time, I wasn't born yet at the time it was released, but it came out a couple of years before I was born, and then it charted twice, and it was a big hit. So this is Let's Dance by Chris Montez.
Hey, baby, won't you take a chance? Say that you'll let me have that dance. So let's dance. Oh, let's dance. We'll do the twist and knock and a potato too. Any old dance that you want to do. But let's dance. Oh, let's dance. Hey, baby, yeah, you throw me slow. Hold me tight, don't you let me go.
Let's Dance by Chris Montez. I love it. It's a 1962 hit single by Chris Montez, written and produced by Jim Lee. It went to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart in the U.S. and to number 2 in the UK singles chart. And in 1973, it was coupled as an oldie with the Shirelles' Will You Love Me Tomorrow and released in Europe, where it was a huge hit the first time in 1962. The recording went on to reach number 5 for a second time, then 11 years later in both Britain and Germany. And the song was also featured in the 1978 comedy film National Lampoon's Animal House, starring John Belushi. So it's had quite a history, of being put out there. Yeah, and I tell you, I just love to dance. I love it. And there's something really playful and fun about that, and that rhythm at the beginning, which was kind of interesting that I chose that. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Shaka Punk in terms of that percussive, that love for that that all that makes you move,
Yeah, I agree.
Wonderful. And so I'll always remember that. It's like my first record that I ever had.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm glad that I was your first. Yes.
Say that again.
What was your first record?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You're my guest.
No, you go ahead.
You go. No, you go. We're like Chip and Dale.
My first record was, actually, 2 of them I had the same, because it was birthday presents. So I totally remember maybe, was it or was it not? I know I got the album, what do you call it? Is it like a 33? You got a 45 and then the big one.
The LP was a 33.
The LP, okay, it's an LP. We call that 33. So the LP was White Wedding from Billy Idol.
Billy Idol.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yes, that was my first.
Yeah,
my first LP. My first 45, I can't remember. It's a toss between Madonna, Like a Prayer, or it was Vanessa Paradis. I can't remember. Judah Taxi. I can't remember. One or the other. It came out at the same year, so I must have gotten both of them at that time.
That's brilliant. Well, music's a big part of my life, so I love ending the show with music.
Yes.
And you are a song, my dear. You are a song, and you're beautiful.
Thank you, my love.
Thank you so much for coming on to the show tonight.
Of course.
And you will also be getting a parting gift of a Pop the Piss In that our lovely guest at the top of the show, that Betsy Burr brought, our sidekick for this week, that she brought a Pop the Piss In, because as you know, the government shutdown is going to leave us without one. So she thought she was very kind, very forward-thinking, and bringing us all a pot to piss in so that we can weather the storm. So hang on for just a moment. I want to say our thank you to our show's producer and top of the show sidekick, Betsy Burr, and our featured guest, Paris Benjamin, and bringing me the key to her heart, because she already has mine. So for more information about our shows, our sidekicks, our guest topics, just go to lnrradio.com. And remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and share with everyone you know. Thanks for tuning into OMTG on the LNR Radio Network. We are broadcasting live every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Let's make it a day. You are gorgeous, and I cannot wait to watch you this month, Paris. First, we're going to see you on, remind our guests, our audience, we're going to see you first on NCIS.
Yes, NCIS next Tuesday the 15th at 8 p.m. on CBS, and Revenge on Sunday the 29th or 27th, I can't remember, at 9 p.m. on ABC.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love you, sweetheart. And
Me too.
I will call you in a little bit just to give you some more love. Have a good night.
All right, thank you. Good night.
Good night, sweetheart.
Good night.